Howdy, my name is Gwen Bowie, and I have been teaching CISSP for a couple decades. In that time, I can say that I've gotten very comfortable at finding those management answers. I know you've heard that. You have to think like a manager on the CISSP test. It is a manager-based exam. It has a lot of technology inside of it, and a lot of people come to this test with technical backgrounds, so finding the management answers are really, really tough. There's actually a group of people, it's a very small group, but it's a group of people that I've had come through my classes that I've gotten to the point it's hard for me to stop myself from saying the following. You're going to pass this test. Not a question, not a doubt, not worried about it. Usually freaks them out, and I usually say it at the very beginning of the class. I'll say it in front of the whole of the class. And the group is Chief Information Security Officers. By the time you get to C-level executive, you think like a manager, period. End of statement. Any technical information that you need, you could review, you could figure out. It's easy to find, but finding those management answers is exceedingly critical. And at this point, I'm at 100% accuracy on it. But what is it that makes somebody like that capable of finding the right answers? So what I would say is there's 5 critical things. If you're sitting in one of my classes and you have a name tent in front of you, I actually make you write it out on your name tent in front of you as we go through the course of the week and we find these 5 things. And then as we're answering practice questions together, referring to this. When you actually go into the test, all right, so first thing is when you go in, you have 5 minutes to accept the non-disclosure agreement. Do that. Once you get past that, you will be given a board to write on, laminated paper with a wet erase marker. You can make notes on there. I would not recommend doing a brain dump and trying to get everything out of your head onto there so that you could then answer whatever you think you need, you probably don't need for this test, which is kind of funny. But these 5 things that I'm about to tell you, I would highly recommend writing these down on that board in front of you. All right, so the first one. The first one is something that I will not bend. It's not an option. There are no choices, in my opinion, and that is life safety answers. If there is a life safety answer of any sort, some answer that talks about protecting life, saving people, making sure people are alive, making sure that people are healthy, they are being taken care of in some way to preserve life, I am going to take that answer. You do what you want on this test. I am good at passing these tests. I'm not smarter than you. You gotta be careful about that. I'm not saying I'm smarter. It's finding the right answers at the right places and the right times. And that is one thing I will not budge on. There was a practice question within the past few years that I saw, and I could see it wasn't going to be the right answer, but I was unwilling to bend my rule. I took the life safety answer and got the question wrong, but I would assert that was an outlier. Usually, if somebody has managed to get life safety into an answer, that's what they were thinking about. You have to stretch outside of what we are normally doing in information security to end up with you have to protect life, keep people alive to get that into an answer, probably where they were going with it. Otherwise, it's the only guarantee that I can give you that I would do on this test. I will take all life safety answers. You do what you want. Otherwise, everything else when it comes to CISSP is debatable. There's no one right thing. There's no one way to find all the answers. But there are a lot of tips. A lot of times on this test, what you're going to find is you're able to eliminate 1 or 2 answers, and then you're left with 2, or maybe it's actually 3 answers, and you're like, geez, they could all answer this question. How do I choose the right answer? Where does this test want me to go? And that's what I've got for you. So the first thing past life safety that I would say is watch for things in a particular order. Not order within a single answer, but it's the order of answers that I'm searching for. The first thing that I search for is people answers. You're looking for answers that it's hire the right people. Make sure people are trained. Make sure people are certified. Make sure you've done a background check on people. Make sure that you've been through awareness training. Make sure your human beings are the human beings that you need, you want, have them around the business. Hire the right people. Things are going to work a lot better. The second thing I would look for in answers is processes. So if there are no people answers, the next thing I search for is there a process answer? Change management is a process. If you want to make a change to anything within a business, you submit a request. It goes to a group of people that are going to assess it based on the business, the risks, the threats, what does it fix, what problems does it open up, and on and on and on. So there's a stepped process that you have to go through to determine, can we actually make that change? Configuration management, it's a process. Patch management, process. Catch the word management? Everything inside of ITIL is a process. All the distinct things. So incident management, business continuity, disaster recovery, all of those things are processes. So the logic is hire the right people, give them the right processes, but people first. So if there's people answers, there's a good chance that's going to be the right answer. Not a guarantee. If they're not there, look for processes. If they're not there, now you can take your technology answers. So people, process, technology. So especially if you have a technical background and the answer is firewall and you're like, I want that answer. Think twice. Stop. Are there any people answers? Are there any process answers? If those are there, don't take that technical answer. This is not a technical test. It has a lot of technology, but it's not a technical test. There are technical questions with technical answers. But if you're technical and you don't find this management answers, you're going to have a very hard time passing this test. So the order is people, process, technology. All right. So the next thing, if that's not working to sort out your answers, the next thing I would look for is risk answers, or just next thing to clue on that it's in the answers, risk. Anything related to risk. I actually have a new book out, Enterprise Risk Management. It's critical to everything that we do in information security. It drives everything that we do in information security. And if it doesn't drive everything that you do in life, you've had some interesting times. So anything related to risk, quantitative risk analysis, qualitative risk analysis, threats, vulnerabilities, single loss expectancy, annualized loss expectancy. Got the idea? Any of the concepts within risk are probably going to make for good answers. Like, what is the best thing that we should do in this particular scenario? And then there's some scenario to the question. There's no people answers, there's no process answers, but you've got a good answer that says quantitative risk analysis or perform a quantitative risk analysis, perform a qualitative risk analysis, something like that. That's going to be the right answer. There could be a firewall answer and you're like, that's what you need to do. Well, maybe. Depends on a few other factors. So going through this, well, you could argue risk management is a process, but going through this very particular process of managing risk and assessing it is going to get you to the right answer for that particular business. So anything related to risk generally makes for good answers. Another thing to watch for in the answers, money. Money by itself, bad. It's expensive. It's cheap. Those are not going to be good answers. Expensive according to who? Expensive according to me or expensive according to the richest man on the planet? What I think is expensive, he thinks is not. So it's very, very relative. But if it's expensive and what you're going to get out of it is this, all right, now it's a little bit more interesting. It's cheap and what you're going to get out of it is this. Interesting. So cost versus benefit. If that's all inside of a single answer, now it's an acceptable answer to take. It may not be the right answer to a question, but if there's no benefit, it's just pure cost, it is not a suitable answer. Do not take it. You have to have cost versus benefit. It could be total cost of ownership. It could be returns on investment. It could be a lot of other things that are in that category of concepts. But what you're looking for is the cost and the benefit. It has to be a complete solution. What am I spending and what am I getting out of it? And if you don't have both pieces, not a good answer. Don't do it. So there's no single thing that's going to get you through all questions. It's just having these ideas in your head or written on the paper in front of you when you're testing to keep this in mind that this is what you're looking for. All right, so that's 4. The 5th one is it's all about the business. It's all about the business. It's all about the corporation. What I do in my business may not be exactly what you do in your business. Like for data, most of what I have in my computer is videos and PowerPoints. That's what I have. I don't have much in the way of sensitive information. I don't have a whole lot of names, addresses, phone numbers that I have to protect. Company data, sensitive company data that's going to, like I'm thinking national secrets that if it was leaked could put people's lives at risk. I have nothing like that. Even for most of my customers, the work that I do for them, the work I do is not sensitive. Now, I do security. I protect what I need to protect. I make sure my customers are protected. I'm not causing them any damage or any harm. And anything I have in my possession, I'm going to make sure I'm protecting. But what I do for them is generally not digging into sensitive data. It's generally pulling information out of my head to help them with whatever it is that they're doing. So how I protect data is probably not the way your company protects data, or even personally. How you protect your personal data on your phone or your computer at home may not be exactly the same way that I protect data within my business. So whatever we select, it's always all about the business. It has to be a solution that matches that business, a solution that matches that business's needs. If it doesn't match that corporation's needs, it's not the right answer. Like trying to impose the classification scheme that a government uses on my business doesn't make sense. I'm going to be spending money to protect things that don't require that level of protection. I don't have top secret data within my business. It's not whatever you define top secret as. I don't have it. Just very different. So it's always all about the business, making sure that we're protecting data as we need to protect that data. All right, so there's the 5 things. I highly recommend you write them down on your board when you're walking into the test. It is not everything that you need to know to get through this test, but it definitely is the core to how to think like a manager. If you need more, I've got more. This is just the beginning of it, but it is a good start. So start applying this to your practice questions and see how it works out. Writing questions is a skill. So as you go through practice questions, you'll find questions that are debatable and dicey and questionable, and writing management questions is even harder. So there's going to be a lot of technical practice questions with technical answers, and prepping on all of those just doesn't help you on this particular thing for the test. But keep practicing your questions. If you need more, I've got more. There's more on YouTube, or set up a call with me and I'd be happy to advise you on what I think you should be doing next. A couple decades of experience here. Love to share that information. So set up a call with me if you want. Otherwise, I wish you the best of luck. There's your 5. Write them down when you go into the test. All right, have a good one. See you in my next video.